My name is Robbie Luckett. This is our closing event of this year's Creative Arts Festival, Margaret Walker, This Is My Century. It's been a great couple of days, and I said earlier, the programming, the panels, the academic discussions and dialogues that we have had this year and the papers that have been submitted are the best series of programming in terms of quality that I've seen since I've been here and been doing this for the last 6 years. They have been excellent, and I'm very excited about how this festival continues the incredibly important legacy of Dr. Margaret Walker Alexander at Jackson State University. And it is a rich one, and one that we are very, very proud of. This Creative Arts Festival, I should say, would not be possible without the hard work of the staff at the Margaret Walker Center, Ms. Trina Tolles, Ms. Angela Stewart, Mr. Brandon Thompson. We prepare all year long for these 2 days as an effort to lift up our students and to celebrate them and provide them access to great scholars. I'm also happy that the Mississippi Arts Commission has supported us again this year, and we will be back next year. As you can see on the back of your programs, April 8th and 9th, 2016. We shall be here with the 10th Annual Creative Arts Festival. And as part of our closing events, along with ending with the announcement of this year's Margaret Walker Award winner, the $1,000 award for the best essay by a Jackson State student on the Black experience in the American South, we will begin with a talk and reading by another remarkable woman, an author, a native of Mississippi, who received a PhD in English, specializing in African American literature and creative writing at Binghamton University, an MA in English at Hollins University, in addition to an MS in Human Resource Development from Georgia State, and a BS from the University of Georgia. This is one well-educated woman. Xavier Review Press published her debut poetry collection, Troubling Accents, in July 2013, which received a nomination for the Mississippi Institute of Arts and Letters and was selected by the Texas Association of Authors as its 2014 Poetry Book of the Year. Dr. Raquel Rivera's second collection, Heathen, has been selected by poet and literary activist E. Ethelbert Miller as the winner of the 2015 Naomi Long Magic Poetry Award, published by Lotus Press, Inc. and distributed by Wayne State University Press. Rivera's work limbs and reimagines the intersections of race, gender, class, orientation, and regional identity. She was awarded a 2009 Leo Love Merit Scholarship in Poetry in association with the Taos Summer Writers Conference. Her short story, The Iron Bars, won the 1999 Peregrine Prize, and she's been a finalist for the Mae Swenson Award, the Journal Intro Award, the Gary Snyder Memorial Award, the Palmanac Award, the Crab Orchard Series, and the Duvall Poetry Prize, as well as nominations for Pushcards. Rivera has been anthologized in Mischief, Caprice, and Other Poetic Strategies, and included in a book on poetics titled The Rhythm Method, Razzmatazz in Poetry. She has been published in journals such as African American Review, Columbia Evergreen Chronicles, Beloit Poetry Journal, Feminist Studies, Obsidian, the Southern Review, U City Review, and we're very lucky to have her with us today. She currently lives in McKinney, Texas, Dr. Raquel Flowers Rivera.
First of all, I would like to say thank you, and if I can beg, if you don't mind coming forward just a little so we can have more of a sense of intimacy, and that way I don't feel like I'm up here by myself. And as you're transitioning, what I will say is I'm going to start off reading from my first collection, Troubling Accents, and it started my fascination with the South. Being from the South and getting frequent digs about being from Mississippi, and at some point you get tired of making the defenses because wherever you're from, there's always going to be an issue. So Troubling Accents, the title functions in 2 ways. Troubling as in making something more complicated, and troubling as in disturbing. serving. The epigraph for the entire collection comes from James Baldwin, and it says, "My memory stammers, but my soul is a witness." So the eponymous poem, Troubling Accents, I felt as if I needed to go ahead and deal with William Faulkner right off the bat, because being from Mississippi, there's no way to avoid him. William Faulkner wrote an open letter to Negroes of the South admonishing them to go slow, meaning don't force integration, it'll come, just take your time, but what happens when it's going to take the remainder of your lifetime? So the epigraph from this piece comes from William Faulkner's Sanctuary. "I think about what they tell children about kissing your elbow, and I tried to. I actually did. I was that scared. And within Southern lore, the ability to kiss one's own elbow means that you could change your sex. And in this particular scene, a woman was about to be raped in a barn." Troubling accents. Leave it to a Southerner to puncture the ordinary, transmuting violence and my hatred for certain tones into something brutal and beautiful and vulgar, like pie-head Saturnine boys knifing belt notches fillets. To have some white man suggest I go slow, no matter that the air is too humid to sustain cicadas and serrie-clabbered houses, along with my desperate need to question. What few answers I found only led to more compunction, making a slattern purple-mouthed woman seem almost justified for wanting to kiss her elbow as she lay among the chaff, desperate to slip the yoke of fate. I ran from that land to hide in the New South. There are manners like moribund magnolias. Effluvium still seeps from every flowery syllable I breathe. I cannot dissemble whence I come. Now, not quite an expatriate, I have found a place inside myself where I can be comfortably nostalgic. My ears alert for y'alls and nims and all them troubling accents of home. The second one is based out of the experience of you accumulate these degrees and people see the facade of who you are, and they believe that there's no roughness, no fierceness behind it. So it's a series of cinquains, but I wanted to deal with that experience. Back up off me. I must inform you that I am a middle-class thug, a code-switching whore, dressed in Chanel. I live between the lines, cussing out the waiter for bad service, then still leaving a tip. I am a rope and plank bridge stretched between two sides, swinging topsy-turvy before crashing. I say all this not to scare you, but to give fair warning for when I snap, dropping your ass. I'm your average black woman with cockleburr hair, needing a 6-week touch-up, no lie. Another aspect of American lore is the ability to pull oneself up by his or her bootstraps. The problem with that is when you look at the statistics, for every 100 children born into poverty, the statistical rate of making it out is 4 out of 100. So when you are coming up against educational structural inequalities and economic inequalities, you realize you've got a large gap or chasm to try to cross. It also deals with my kind of survivor's guilt. You go home and you see grown men riding bicycles not for ecological reasons or not for health reasons, but because that is their means of transportation. So, bootstraps. The only illusion that I think I need to explain is this ice cream truck growing up played Joplin's Entertainer. So that is our code to go running for the ice cream truck. bootstraps. Snowball truck 2 blocks away, bells clink and chime, Joplin's entertainer. No one stirs, a coastal December, 72 degrees and humid. The grizzled terrier 2 houses down yaps at my nerves, fleshes out a lagniappe dream of a tenderloin and strychnine. This afternoon, I ambled along the iron rails and wooden planks of the trestle until I came upon 2 girls and a boy, tinsel-platted and ashen, searching for cans. 3 angular vultures finding sustenance amid decay. I slumped and sat near tears, cursing and chunking stones. This morning, we attended a drug bust before sunrise service. Visited with a few folks I hadn't thought to think of since junior high. Got word on boys I made out with once, but now wouldn't even claim. And information about the girl who knifed my cousin dead over hearsay. I didn't recognize the bells who had swollen up from babies, bad marriages, and the like. I heard tell of the best and brightest committing suicide or leaving home, no intention of return. My elders secretly hoped for flood and fire, a chance to rebuild rundown garrets in their golden years. Those my age work the docks or keep a sugar daddy between stints in jail. Last night, one of my second cousins shot a man in the back of the head. Most everybody says he was on that stuff, had gone on the tail. I ain't stupid enough to ask why. Jumping ahead. I am fortunate enough to come from a clan of girl cousins who were voracious readers. And the upside of it was walking to the library, picking out books, sharing them, passing them around, picking blackberries, getting a Slurpee for the way home, all the things that made my childhood wondrous. But the one downside about the library is the books on the shelves were heavily censored, but we had an Uncle Charles who would send home books, and they were the good books, the ones where you would dog-ear the pages and pass them around and go, did you see this part? And you could end up in a dialogue about all those things. But mixed with that were the things that nobody ever said about my Uncle Charles, whom we call Sonny Boy, the things you only come to in glimpses, in small sidelong glances. Requiem for Sonny Boy. In the days before when you were you, alive, and I had not become me, you were the refined uncle of books, delicately sculpted, razor tongue. Many years escaped before I knew what no one ever said. Of course, there were clues. Brief visits, decorous tables, San Francisco, a photograph taken at Fire Island, decanters and goblets, a satin robe, opera. Your hand said more than your words. You are dead 3 years now, and I have yet to write your book. Questions plague my house. Didn't you witness enough of yourself in my being? I mean, I don't know what I mean. Genealogy, genetics, theories fall apart. The world is flat. It has an edge. I saw you today. Not you, but one who could have been you. A Hindu man, beautiful, coal skin, impeccably dressed, impatient with the sun. He was carrying an umbrella. Intimations of the body, horse, crystal, rock, powder, a bitch's brew to medicate joy against pain. The pen will not behave, the paper is in revolt. For you, drugs, religion, home became ritual, symbol, myth. Your death, a heart attack, surprised no one. Anachronisms rarely walk the earth unscathed. AIDS is the word my my family does not say. Your car in the driveway, the driver's door open, 1 foot upon the pavement, hands upon the wheel, still light. This is how you were posed. The last time I saw you, you asked for a book of poems, Rita Dove's Mother Love. I did not send it in time. I hope this will do. And a good pairing with that one is you come to realize your identity. I grew up in Gulfport, Mississippi. We moved to Connecticut. It was a town of 10,000, primarily Irish and Italian, and there was only one black family in the town, and that was my family. Add that to make a already complicated dating situation worse, I was beginning to realize that I had feelings for, or attractions to other women. Not just men, not just women, but typically the line was, oh, bisexuality isn't really a thing, it's just a transition point on your way through to becoming a lesbian. But that didn't feel true as well either. So this piece is called Cynic. There are no innocent people. I have seen the future and it is unending. Neon ribbons of animus. Jade stars litter the sky like rosary beads against black velvet, and absence defines the boundaries of being. There, beneath exhaling dogwoods and magnolias, tree frogs croak their complicity, illuminating the emptiness with sound. Here, beside me, another woman stands, gleaning shadowy meanings from the distant tarn. The wake washes the bank, stroking the water like a thigh. Night descends, the mapless geography is revealed. Branch promontories of terra infirma expose the vacuum in which a life may be lived. This malcontent offers me what she has been taught, a mass cipher designed to obscure from me what I long ago recognized in myself. The web of her voice spirals away and extends to enclose nothingness. She mutters that she is the hushed reminder at Sunday dinner not to tell the faggot joke. And this feeling so long forgotten makes me gasp for air to keep from pooling. I know the rueful smile I manage is more pathetic than the teeth-like calories strung against the damp skin of her throat. Separated from the flock, somewhere a black starling keens. I want her to know that I too, like a child, have suffered atrocities in silence, then swallowed hard as I bore witness to my own attrition into the rank and file. I am the cynic, unable to love what has been lost. My eyes no longer flash, unwilling to capture images my soul no longer records. These superimposed images of the past, a history of superfluous lovers who exhumed while destroying a vault of slow burning memories which could not be relived. But I do remember the awe and wonder of cupping in hand my first lover's breast and whispering her name over and over. Again, the starling screams. The bemused frogs bow their head for a closer listen, unable to believe that they hear amid the soundless cries the marbled square of set shoulders becoming round. On the horizon, a key just visible to the eye, drawing near, a pirogue splits the dark waters. The calyx that is my throat bears down, suppressing. I have seen the future, and it is. I tell this woman that I do not know, but I have heard that someplace pineapples are the symbol of hospitality. So surely her life must be the symbol for something. And the last one that I'll read from this collection is, I wanted to take you home. And I was notorious for not bringing home people that I was dating because I didn't see much need. My nuclear family was going to put them through the grist. And not only that, when it was time, it happened to coincide with not only needing to meet my immediate family in Atlanta, but needing to meet my extended family in Gulfport, Mississippi. And as we were making that 6-hour drive, I found myself trying to coach that person going, when a woman walks into the room, even whatever, you must stand up to shake her hand or give her a hug. If somebody offers you a plate of food, you take it. And if you don't want what's on your plate, you figure out how to get rid of it surreptitiously. If the trash needs to be taken out, you just do it. You ask where does it go, not if it needs to go out. And when you are talking to my elders, you do not condescend, and you most certainly do not correct their grammar. And you realize there are certain people who will not be able to traverse that chasm with you, no matter how much you love them. I wanted to take you home. I wanted to take you home to show you wisteria knotted like snakes, dirt clods you could eat, burnt air heavy enough to prop up porches, exactly what a crowbar could do to a windshield. To show you how to listen, a way to recognize the absence of sound when the dead travel among pussy willows like slow-moving katydids, while the wind is no colder than my drawl. No more than that. I wanted you to stick your arm out the window, you spit to test the sky for rain, so you could learn the way and know to whether or not to worry about fixing your face and fussing with your hair. I wanted the midday sun to steal back that pale band of skin about your wrist, the one you cling to like it's your life. So you could have some idea of the attention required, the time necessary to coax flavor from a kettle of greens. All this I wanted, to let you see, so you could have a notion of my place among something more planned than tried, so you could understand the quiet rage of my teeth and nails on your neck, mimicking the scrape and spark of a blade against stone as I pinned you against the car door, cussed your name, that night that stretched away like the tarmac of crude stairs. Hot, mournful, unalterable, right before I said, it's best you leave, now go. And your voice came back, full of silence and trees and clear, clear water. Baby, I'm not a tease. I wanted to walk with you down gravel roads past the military base, up the swell to the neon cross, show you that very sparrow you've heard me rasp about. No hustling, no chicanery. I wanted you to know the slow corruptions I would have to face, every hell I would have to divorce and embrace just to be with you. I don't know how we failed each other with this sharecropper's lack of imagination. So that's Troubling Accents. The second collection, Heathen, is born out of that idea of there's always that person in the community where they go, oh, she's just a heathen. She's common, she's ordinary. And it also arises out of moving into the 7th grade. I was tested for GT. And what GT meant for 7th and 8th grade in Mississippi at that time was simply 3 or 4 of us going out in a trailer, being taken out of class and doing a bit of advanced math and focusing on some advanced literature. And part of that was my exposure to Greek myth, which I fell in love with. And so this collection is called Heathen for that reason. It's revisionist mythology. And the epigraph comes from Jane Hirschfield's The Lives of the Heart. Not one of them is held in the arms of the rest to blossom. Not one of them is given into ecstasy's lions. Not one does not grieve. Each of them opens and closes, closes and opens the heavy gate. Violent, serene, consenting, suffering it all. And the second epigraph, because I wanted to make sure that I was talking back to the Greek narratives. And it comes from Homer's The Odyssey, Book 5. Yea, and if some god shall wreck me in the wine dark deep, even so I will endure, with the heart within me, patient of affliction, for already have I suffered full much, and much have I toiled in the perils of waves and war. Let this be added to the tale of those. So the first poem I came across this footnote where the prophet Tiresias, the blind prophet, pissed off the gods and was made into a woman for 7 years. And I said, oh yeah, this is a place to start in terms of empathy and compassion and knowing what it's like to be a woman. Lady Tiresias, 7 years a woman. No form will do for this work. Augury is simply a job to be done. I sit with head lowered, an unthreatening figure at the well. Though blind, I can read the meaning in all lives save my own. I know the meaning of the signs, the scorched ivy climbing the courtyard wall, the rusting hasp meant to hold the rundown gate, the virgin's furtive glance, the snakes intertwined. No relief comes at night. The first time I lay with a man, I understood the importance of whether a woman offers you her mount or not. A woman may offer what lies hidden below, but never that which rises above. Her heart, her hands, her lips, her mind. By day, the crowds wait and wait and wait amid detritus, disease. The lines do not let up, some dreaming of floods, others dreaming of easier work. The laborers patiently queue around, arrayed amid the prostitutes, the moneylenders, the fishmongers, for the one truth they already know. For it is always the same utterance I offer. An empty bed can rule your mind like fire. I am a foreigner to this body, and no one will dare break bread with me, because the small talk never comes easy. The second poem that I'm going to read is after the myth of Sisyphus. So he was the one continually pushing the boulder up the hill each day, only to have it roll back down. So I went to the OBGYN, about 33, he said, I know you've been married 10 years, the relationship looks stable. If you plan to have some children, you better get busy. Now's the time. So I said, okay, cranked out 2 children, 14 months apart. And not only that, I was trying to time it so it wouldn't interfere with my college teaching job. So one was born in late May or early May and the other in July. So I immediately went back to work even after 2 C-sections. And so you got the Medela pump on one side, you got the papers on the other side, you're riding the metro in from Northern Virginia to DC. So Sisyphus. Pick the clothes up off the floor, empty and clean the diaper pail, laundry, light, dark, pick and sort. Oh yeah, don't forget, brush your teeth. Unload the dishwasher, take out the trash, make groceries. You have to eat. Not this way, not that way, this. Wash the tub out, change the toilet paper, so much for glamour. Get up at 4 to dress for work, meeting after useless meeting, grade the papers, mark the text, answer the phone, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, no sir, no, I can't stay late again. Ride the train for yet another unending hour. Traffic seems like a gift from heaven, mindless minutes all to myself. Get off the train at 5, be home by 6, keep moving, push, don't you even think about being tired. Phone call, could you, can you please? No, I can't. Dial tone, drone, trudge to the kitchen, fix the food, do the dishes, scrub the scuff marks off the floor. This is what passes for exercise. By the way, don't forget, wash your ass. Bathe the babies, breathe, make love, and fall asleep. Then pick the clothes up. In current society, if you're of a professional couple, one or both of you will have to travel. And it's just an economic necessity. I like utilities. I like my mortgage being paid. I like going to the grocery store and not having to count. So you just simply accept it as part of the relationship. So I wanted to imagine what it must be like for a man in that situation. So Achilles was the person his mother dipped in the pool of water by his heel. So the only vulnerable spot was at that point. But I also wanted to play with the other word of the meaning heel, as someone who was somewhat of a cad. The Achilles blend, heel. When the call heralds over the rough stone fence, attempt to feign these words: resignation, duty. Inside, know that you revel in escaping the tedium. Being clean, quiet, orderly, mending all the objects and psyches you didn't break. The delicate math of bartering for what you want. How by day's end, the woman you love has no energy left for desire. You think, this is not a man's life. This is not how a man lives. Yet, one cannot deny she was the heart you quested. As you dress, remain silent, apart. Do not make excuses about your leaving. She will know. She has always known the way you strategically eye each battle, knowing there is nothing to lose, not mortality, not homestead, not pain, nothing. Fighting beyond endurance is the marrow of a man's life. Envision yourself striding over a field of stones and dirt, slaying slaves and children, fool enough to believe they want to become men. You are the fearful shadow imprinted upon the iris of another man's soul. You are myth, not mythology, the sword without actual need of shield, the sweet, tender spot aching. Another poem that I just had to go back and reclaim was Hera was Zeus's wife. Zeus was known for sleeping with anything and anyone he could get his hands on. But yet Hera is portrayed as harpy, shrew, bitch, right? So you had that. And it made me think about every small southern town I've ever known. So Hera has her say. Ours is a gin town full of relations. My husband and I are prominent citizens here. The way we love each other smacks of incest. My father and mother were brother and sister. My husband and I are brother and sisters. Like most southern towns, scandals are common. People need clear definitions of good and evil. For the sake of convenience, I have been assigned the latter. The women here admire my beauty, though they persist in describing me as matronly. When I slip on my boiled sundress, I can still hold my own with any of these young things. I know it's the contradictions that keep a man's attention. These nubile girls still locked under their daddy's roof have difficulty understanding such a concept. See, it's natural for one to believe, especially when one is still young, that youth is beautiful in itself. They forget youth is everywhere. Men find it puzzling, they don't understand their own fascination with me. My raven mane reflects grass and skies like the iridescent eyes of a peacock's plume. My pale arms and bovine stare contradict what's hinted at beneath the thin cotton. This show of skin, light, bright, they take for proof that the rest of me has never been touched. A prize denied to even the sun is surely worth coveting. My wide brown gaze loses something in translation. All of this can't be reconciled with my décolletage, which grown men seem to view only in terms of sex. I wedded early. Folks around here use my marriage as other towns would use a statue. Historical record, landmark, a visual point of reference for giving directions for people passing on their way through to someplace else. In exchange for this stability, people seek our advice just because we haven't killed one another. My man Z, he got one of them roving eyes, churchgoers and heathens alike admiring him for it. His stutter talk followed by the pickup's roar into a cloud of smoke always means he slipped off to get his buckle shined. The sight of him speeding off to see someone else the same way he used to speed off to see her killed one little girl who thought she was in love. One time, I caught him low-riding a white caddy, shameful, a man old as he is, all slumped down, near falling over in the seat, one hand barely on the wheel, the other elbow jutting across the armrest. I threw my arms around him, kissed and cooed like he had bought the car for me. I drove all over town, told a gossip, or even paid a visit to the woman it belonged to. I know every time she hears my name, surely it feels like a gadfly biting her ass. With the myth of Echo, she could only repeat what was said to her. So I thought that was an interesting place to start. And she had the horrid misfortune of falling in love with Narcissus, who was only in love with himself. So, Echo on a good day. Most days are like this one, dark, dank, a guttering candle, my only light. I work on perfecting, a better word would be practicing my smile. That, I know, is what startled Narcissus. The way my incisors catch the apple of my bottom lip, drawing 2 neat drops of blood. Everyone wants Narcissus, men, women. That also adds to this quandary. I haven't spoken much today, not much worth repeating anymore. This is a typical day for me, full of loneliness. In my mind, I practice 2 of the 3 words I will say. Come, blank me. Only the preposition causes trouble. On different days, I'm sure I know the one I mean. 2, 4, in, on. Redoubtable is love, especially this one that uses hearts as whetstones. Books cover the walls, the floor, my bed like dross. I lie prone, hours barely moving, plundering gracile words I will repeat as if my own. My voice runs breathless circles in my throat, desperate to enter my mouth, appetent. My tongue tells my ears dulcet tales of what awaits. Pain is more bearable when you have something beautiful as a distraction. When I have been diligent, I reward myself with goblets of wine. Alcohol goes straight to my sex, engenders a bloom of purple, a lissome reminder of my beloved. And two more. I wanted to reclaim the myth of Persephone. I didn't like the idea of her having no sense of agency, no power. And so the myth of Persephone, she was abducted to the underworld by Hades, but Demeter became so distraught that she laid waste to the land. And what became of that is the gods came to her and said, you gotta do something about her. You gotta allow her to go back to her mama's house at least 6 months out of the year. Persephone, all bound up. I had been gone days before my mother noticed Demeter, so busy with the exigencies of living, had not guessed I'd gone, no grip, no valise, just my weakened determination to find a plausible escape from Zeus, that arse. For this reason, I do not embellish doors dead bolted, nor thighs gazing across windowsills, all that pretense just for show. I merely traipsed after a thought, for if I could scramble after that thought, any thought, my mind would not collapse in upon itself. Begin here, let Hades off the hook. Irons fashioned into curved points are not conducive to truth-telling. Isn't every marriage an abduction? Stop, insert archaic smile. No, I let them wear me down. For there are so few men deserving of women like me, epic landscapes who consider being anyone's queen a burden, robe or no robe. Certainly, he knew I could have survived on brew tea several months more, but the world needed a silver-veined leaf, a yarn capable of dividing boredom into recognizable seasons. For this reason, alas, for Hades, 6 pomegranate seeds, mythology's rude. Helios swears all, okay, he does, but why did he decide on such a fanciful lie? Abduction, me. Come now, tis tis. No one would be so foolish. He had observed I only brought the most well-behaved songbirds home, guided them carefully through the rituals, then wrung each neck. He read the signs. A mother desires normalcy for her daughter. Rape, however unimaginable, proved a more suitable lie. Dead, I watched the cardinal attack its glass image each morning, then alight upon the day, and am always reduced to tears. This is what I miss most, dawn in my mother's house. I should have known, I certainly should have known, having lain with Zeus like a statue with dead eyes, Mama would have understood. And the last one is the myth of Prometheus stealing fire from the gods and bringing it down to man, fire standing in as a metaphor of creation. And of course, I found the book of Promethea by Helena Cixous, and in that I found both the lyricism that I aspired to, as well as the stream of consciousness that I believed that I could twist together into my own kind of aesthetic. So, Isle of Promethea. Oh, sorry, his punishment for stealing fire from the gods was being bound to a rock by Zeus, chained, and having his liver plucked out each day by an eagle, only to be regenerated each day and go through the same process of suffering over and over again. The last poem, Isle of Promethea. The epigraph comes from Helena Cixous, the book of Promethea. I am being killed by what keeps me from dying. No wily mind do I possess, for if I did, would I be chained thus to this rock, with links of metal, gray like my mind and just as stolid. These manacles bruise what joy I might hope to find, and the sound of my own bondage shakes me free of intermittent sleep. Daybreak, unbidden, The eagle, as if by prayer, cuts the sky, all beaks and talon, focused upon my flesh. I half smile, not assent, impart a blessing for his sake, that he even bothers to remember to visit me each day. A poor host, I can only offer my liver, white with lust, a sweet bread I can't give away. So I am accused of stealing fire. Explain the sense of stealing what no one wants anyway. Look carefully at me, the way I am, bound, hardwired to the bifurcated desires this body demands. The thunder, and the thunder sounds pedestrian. I have never been able to outrun the lightning. I find solace in this rock, surrounded by a wake of water and sky, abandoned by Zeus without benefit of even a copse of trees to contemplate in the gloaming. Left alone again, I stir the embers of what I could never still. For the fire was always and ever will be mine to do with as I please. Thank you. I have to do the social media thing really quickly. I am on Twitter at Barflowers Rivera. I am on Facebook at Barflowers Rivera. My website is promethea.com, or if you just Google R. Flowers Rivera, it'll pull up information, and I'm even on SoundCloud. So it's all out there. Thank you.
We have been very lucky over the last 2 days to have remarkable artists, writers, poets, and it was a great pleasure to spend these 2 days with them and with all of you. I want to thank R. Flowers Rivera one more time. Now, as our program comes to an end, we announce the annual Margaret Walker Award, the $1,000 prize for the best essay by a Jackson State student. I will say a few things about the selection process.